Hello, and welcome to the Glio von Tobel interview with Zurich Airport. My name is Steve Whitwer. I'm a portfolio manager with Duff & Phelps in Chicago, and I have the pleasure of being joined by Kevin Fleck, CFO of Zurich Airport. Kevin, thank you for joining us today and taking time to speak with us. Maybe before we get started, I'd like to just take a minute. Kevin, I know while you have many years of experience in the industry and as a CFO, many people may not know you in your current role. Would you take a moment and highlight some of your past experience?
Yes, sure. Hi, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here on the call. I started my career in the financial industry in asset management and investment banking. And then 12 years ago, I decided to go back to university and to do a master in economics. And after I did that, I decided not to turn back to banking, but try something more, let's say, practical, and joined the ground handler at the Zurich Airport as CFO. My latest job was for a service company which is invested in the fields of aviation, facility management, healthcare, and real estate. And after that, yeah, I joined Zurich Airport since mid-August this year.
Now, I want to dive into some of the key themes to explore today. And first, I want to explore, we've seen a really nice recovery of passenger volume since the pandemic ended. Could you talk a little bit about how the recovery has progressed and what you've seen from different passenger types and also different geographies?
Yeah. We were actually also a bit surprised how fast the recovery came this year. We actually plan to have 26 million passengers here in Zurich in 2023, and we will be close to 29 million by the end of the year, so almost plus 3 million in passengers. And what we see is the warm water regions and also North America is even above the 2019 levels. Where we do still some constraints is in Asia, specifically in China and Hong Kong, but also in Singapore. There we are still lagging behind the numbers we have seen in 2019. Leisure and mainly leisure travel came back significantly, and in business travel in Europe, but also partly in the Atlantic travel is still lagging behind what we have seen. And we also expect that the European travel will not fully recover to the levels we have seen before.
You mentioned that business travel has lagged a bit. What pressures do you see continuing there, or do you see a full recovery later on?
Yeah, as mentioned, in Europe, like let's say Zurich, Düsseldorf, Berlin, even London, so the one-day trips we have seen before the pandemic, we do not expect that they will recover fully. Also not in the next couple of years, because this has partly been replaced by Zoom meetings or team meetings. But longer trips to North America, to Asia, we expect those to be back in the next couple of years to the levels we have seen in the past.
Oh, that's good color. Thank you. Kevin, as we look beyond the recovery period, what level of passenger growth is achievable, and what are the key variables that you look at when you think about this forward forecast?
On a mid to long term, we do expect growth of 2 to 3% on an annual basis. So that's what we have seen in the past. That's approximately 1.5 of the GDP growth we have here in Switzerland. That's for Zurich. And as you know, we are also investing abroad. And in India, we do expect significantly higher growth rates. Same goes for our portfolio in Latin America.
Continuing with the recovery theme, in your commercial business, what does the recovery look like?
The recovery looks pretty good, to be honest. We do like kind of the separation between airside and landside. And landside even recovered above the levels pre-pandemic. At airside, it's directly linked to the passenger volumes. But in the latest couple of months, we have seen some good progress, and we do expect next year to have levels close to 2019 or even a bit higher than what we have seen pre-pandemic.
I know that you have a very substantial real estate group, and it's a bit distinctive relative to your peers. Can you talk a little bit about some of the success you've had in real estate, and in particular, the Circle?
Yeah, sure. We did two major projects right before COVID hit us. There was the acquisition of the Prior portfolio and the Circle, as you just mentioned. And yeah, we are pretty happy that to have invested in those projects. On one hand, it's a diversification strategy. Like we have those four pillars in our business: aviation, commercial, real estate, and international. And that definitely helped us during the pandemic to have a diversified portfolio. We still got dramatically hit by COVID as all other airports worldwide. But having this kind of strategic business model helped us to recover quickly. And with the Circle, we are happy. We have rented more than 90% currently. And if you take that into perspective, this project has been opened right in the pandemic in 2020. That's kind of a good progress. And we are optimistic that we can close like the remaining 10% in the upcoming years.
You mentioned the international portfolio once or twice in your comments. I'd like to explore that a little bit. Can you talk about what your holdings are there and what your ambitions are as you look forward?
Yes, we do have like two core markets. One is Brazil, and the other one is India. We have currently 10 airports in our portfolio. The latest one will be Natal in the first quarter of next year. And by far the biggest project we have is in India, in Noida. I've been there last week to see how things are progressing, and we do expect to open the airport by the end of this year. This will be one of the biggest investments we have done so far abroad.
That's exciting. It won't be long now. Returning to Zurich, I know that your airport in Zurich has been voted one of the best in Europe for almost 20 years running. Can you talk about what that means to be the best and why it's important?
I mean, for us, it's super important. We do have this Swiss high quality brand here in Zurich, and that's also what passengers expect from us. We set high safety standards, but also quality standards with respect to our infrastructure, but also the service. And for us, it's one of the key KPIs to be in the top range of high quality airports. That's why we are also constantly investing here in Zurich with the new Dock A, which is now in planning, with new baggage sorting, with new passenger consumption or commercial sites here in Zurich. That's truly important for us to be under the top three airports in Europe also going forward.
Switching gears a little bit, I'd like to get your outlook for the upcoming regulatory cycle. Can you comment on your relationship with the regulator and the airlines, and what the larger items are that you think you'll address in this cycle?
Yeah, overall, we do have a very good relationship with like the biggest carrier here in Zurich, that's Swiss. The negotiation will start in April 2025. We do expect to have new tariffs somewhere 2026, maybe even a bit later. When you look around here in Europe, all airports have increased their tariffs. We have been stable for the last couple of years. We have not increased our tariffs in Zurich. So we do expect them to be quite stable also going forward, but this will be then part of the negotiation we start in April 2025.
I know that you're also currently considering an extension of some of the runways. What should investors know about this potential development?
Yeah, that's a pretty hot topic in Switzerland. There will be a vote in March next year since we want to extend two runways. For us, it's important to do that because it's a safety and stabilization topic. It's not that we want to increase the capacity, but it helps us to stabilize the whole system. and reduce night flights and increase punctuality of our flights and the overall stability of the system.
I know your company has some high goals for sustainability, and you've set a goal to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions by the year 2040. Can you talk about some of the major elements of your plan to achieve this?
We have a dual strategy. We have the scope 1 or 2, where we are directly responsible to reduce our emissions to zero, to net zero by 2040. But also on the scope 3, that's mainly the airlines. There we try to support by setting the right environment here in Zurich by, let's say, investing in a charging infrastructure, by making sure that we can import the sustainable aviation fuels and use them here at the airport. So there we are kind of a facilitator, while at scope 1 or 2, we are mainly focusing on our infrastructure. So the biggest negative contributor is real estate. And there we are heavily investing on different fields in order to reduce it. The second one is our fleet. There we are switching to electrical vehicles, and where it's not possible, we will invest in syn diesel in order to be net zero by 2040.
That's great. It sounds like a good plan is in place. Well, Kevin, I think that's a great place to wrap up. Thank you for your time and your insights today. And I'd also like to thank the audience for joining us.
Thank you very much, Stephen. It was a pleasure to talk to you.